Hey there wakeboarders, welcome to edition number 2 of my wakeboard instructional for YouTube. So today we've got Timmy here from Christchurch. We're at Lake Brunner, and we're going to name this instructional what you should expect on your first lesson. So what we'll do is we're just going to send him out there, not too much bounce in the boats, a little bit slower speed, and I've sort of already instructed him. I want him to do what he's already confident and comfortable with. He's kind of new to wakeboarding, but he can ride, and I'll just assess the situation and we'll go from there, and then get him into some skills and drills that'll help him out with his wakeboarding. Pretty good. So, you've got like a couple of little of those human instincts that I was talking about, where you really stick your butt out the back to push down on the heels. Yeah. And also, and it kind of comes from snowboarding a little bit, where you get on your front foot. When you look out, you're leaning out to where you're looking, like where you're trying to go, and you get more weight on the front foot, and the tail's light, and you blow the tail out. So you just have to make sure that when you want to go out, you lean this way to go out, meaning that you just want to lean straight back down the way that the rope's coming at you, right? And look out to where you want to go, because that does help a natural body position. But as you turn and make that edge to go out, really feel that you lean back over the water, right? But lean straight back down the rope so that the weight stays even on your feet. Okay, so we'll just do some S's out here on the left-hand side, and edge all the way out, drift back in, but I want you to turn and go back out in the flat water. Don't use the weight to turn at the moment, okay. Which that's really fun, but in this drill, it's going to be all in the flat water. Yep. Okay, we want to develop like the confidence of leaning back over the water versus that human instinct of being perpendicular to our surface, right? So just look out, turn out, and keep your hips up, and I might whistle and like bring your hips up, but I want you to really look like this. So when you see a yachty hanging off the side of a boat, yeah. I want you to look like that. Hips up, leaning back with your shoulders. Sweet. So it feels better, right? Yeah. Yeah, straight from here, from this end of the rope, like you're just gliding out so much more efficiently. One more time, I want to do that same thing, but you've got your right knee tucked in. Yeah. Right? So the reason that we do this is what you do going out is a muscle memory trainer for like when you're coming in for like your tricks and your heel side jump. So we make everything going out perfect. Okay, so with that back knee tucked in, you've got no power for like leg extension as far as when we turn all this into a jump. Right, and you imagine a sumo wrestler, his knees out because that's what's strongest, right? So you don't want to exaggerate it, but your left knee is turned out great, but your right knee is turned in. So same skill, same drill, but just make sure that that right knee basically lines up with your toes, like both knees are over the toes, it's not rolled in like this. Make sure those hips are up, arms relaxed, and then sliding out more efficiently. Okay, the difference between that one that we're like, that was good and you're gliding, and that one there, like as you get into spinning and you learn like what you do with the handle your board does. So in what you were doing there, did you notice that your tail was blown out? Like you're kind of sliding across the water? Okay, so what you do with the handle your board does. So, if you go and put the hand on, you drift it to that right hip, it'll pull the right hip around a little bit and it brings the tail of the board around. And so as you're leaning out there, you want your handle basically centered, like just your arms being centered to the line, and so you really lean back down the rope, but your handle on that one, you're sort of muscling it, and it's another one of those instinctive things, like we guys, and we're like, it's an action sport, and so you're trying to muscle a bit, but you're pulling it to the right hip, and that pulls the right hip around, and it pulls the tail around, and it blows the tail out of the water. Yeah. Okay, so next time we come back to that, we'll concentrate on that, but now what I want to do is go out and start working on the same drill, but for your toe side. Okay, so what we're going to do is send you out to the right hand side, left foot forward, and instinctively, when you got up, you're quite bent like this, but what we want to do is get your hips up and get you leaning on your shoulders so that you're in a more of a chest proud position. So I'll show you right foot forward so that you can see it, right? When you go out, right, look out to where you want to go, but you need to be perpendicular to your wakeboard. right? So your wakeboard looks like this, right? Because your tail's down and your nose up. You need to be perpendicular to that, where when you first start, everyone's forward of that, and it's a weaker position because you can get crushed at your hips when you try to do a jump. So we're just going to get the muscle memory train going out. As you make the turn to go out, just try to squeeze your butt cheeks and bring your hips up, and lean on that back shoulder straight down the line to go out, right? And so anything forward of that line is weak, so you make sure that you're on that back shoulder. What's that?
Straight arm.
Yeah, relaxed arms, because if you go straight, or you concentrate on being straight, you want your handle below your chest line, right? And if I use the word straight, you know, it gets really high. So relaxed arms, there's going to be a bit of a bend in your arms, but when you're edging toe side, so going out now or coming in for like the jump, all the power is on your back arm. Your front hand really is just balanced. There's actually a drill where you do it like this one-handed, right? So, but for now, let's get your toe side edging going out on the right-hand side. Good, you know, like, so because you're twisted on your toe side, it feels weird to everybody when you start wakeboarding, and it'll become more and more part of your wakeboarding and become more and more natural, right? But that's where you want to be, you know, like you're perpendicular to your wakeboard, like you're strong, and even though, like, if you watch a ton of YouTube videos and all the pros are bent over and doing all this, like they have their own technique, but if you freeze it at the top of the wake, they've got their hips in the right position. So we've always kind of said, you know, it's all in the hips, right? But in your basics, we're going to start with that every day, and then eventually we're going to do that same drill switch, so that you just in the first 2 to 3 minutes, you practice all 4 edges. Heel side and toe side, left foot forward, and then heel side, toe side, right foot forward, and from there, you know, you can learn anything that you want. Now, I'm just going to slow the boat down, and we're going to do surface 180s in the middle of the wake. Now, I know you can already do 180s because I saw you sort of do some switch stuff before, but instinctively, we always hear, you know, keep the handle in on the hip. Okay, and what we need to do is to maintain like our wakeboard axis, like this lean that counteracts the pull forward of the boat, right? So to maintain this, to do a 180, all you really need to do is take the handle and move it across to the other hip and rotate your hips and the board beneath you. So, but the handle does everything, right? Where if you pull it in, you pull yourself off like this wakeboard axis, like this lean that counteracts the boat, and you pull yourself forward, and especially when you come around to switch, you'll be front foot heavy, and the board will start dancing because you're not even anymore. And it's quite a common thing that, especially on the internet, you see it, hold the handle in on your hip, but I completely disagree, right? Initially, everything's just going to be side to side. There's not going to be any in-out for these 180s, and we're just going to keep it simple. Hips up, double check your hips. As you go through to the middle, and you got all 10 toes pointed at the boat, right? Just double check. You should have the same lean, okay? Hips up, and then as you go up to the right hip, and your right foot comes around, hips up, shoulders relaxed. Now, if you get wobbly or you get in trouble, just drop the back hand for the foot that's going forward, and it guarantees a front hip pull and no face plant. Okay, a face plant comes from basically your handle touching your belly button. So that's where we want to eliminate that pull, because, you know, you pull yourself out the front door while the boat's pulling you forward to catch your toes and smash your face. All right.
Rookie mistake. At this point, my camera decided that the storage was full. So we're subbing in Jack to show you the 180s. Timmy did a great job, but the footage was lost.
How you feeling? You want to do a little more or take a break?
I can do a little more.
Okay. So, the thing that, you know, like with that human instinct, and like one of them is, you know, being perpendicular to the surface, and the other one is pulling for all that stuff. Yeah. But you notice how simple it got. Like when you just went from side to side, you know, like the board just rotates really easy.
Yeah, I've never even done that.
But most importantly, your axis away from the boat stayed the same. Except for maybe the first one where you gave it a bit of a pull and you come forward of where we want you, you know. So, I mean, that was awesome. And a lot of, you know, the first lessons are eliminating those habits and keeping wakeboarding simple because it's more efficient. Okay, so have you ever slid the board going backwards, like where your heels are going to be towards us?
Not really.
Okay, let's do that.
Yep.
So again, like we're going to keep the boat speed right down. So we're probably at about 12 or 13 miles an hour for your body weight, right? Okay, so same theory applies. You know, to do a front side 180 like you were just doing, the handle goes across. So what we want to learn in this is we want to get, this is our goal position, heels at the boat, body above your feet, bit of a bend in your knees, right? And eyes on the boat. This is the goal. Okay, so to get there, all you need to think about is thumping someone to your left. So go to one hand, go to left foot forward, left hand on the handle, thump someone to your left, because I don't want to end on the hip because you know you don't spin, versus if you look at me on one foot, if I just move it across, see how I spin, right? And so what we want to do is just get the handle behind our back so that it goes to the center of our back, and when you move the handle behind your back, it's the same way as moving across the front of you, the board will start to spin around. Okay. Whenever we spin on a wakeboard, especially in the beginning, super easy, instinctively, to turn and look out the back, right? Because if you're walking and you want to turn around a building, you know, while you're walking on a footpath, you'll look around and everything follows what your head does. But for wakeboarding, I want you to really learn that it's the handle that makes you spin. So as you go to thump someone behind you and kick that tail around, I want you to keep your eyes on the boat. If you find yourself looking at the back, try to catch that and look for us. And just hold it for 2 or 3 seconds one-handed, and then bring it back to your left hip to go straight. Right. Okay, look at us! Look at us! Timmy, lips up. Okay, a little left, stop. A little left. Eyes on the boat. So, you know, like you see instinctively, like you look out the back, it's just human habit. So try to catch yourself looking out the back and going, oh, I'm doing it, but I can't see the boat. So for now, really try to keep your eyes on the boat and use the handle for the spin, not your head. And you've got it, like you're moving it behind your back, you're actually a little too strong, Timmy, for what we're doing. So you need to end up with the handle basically in the center of your back so that you just hold the 90-degree spin. Right, and you're actually, as you thump, you're going past center, you know, you actually end up coming around to here, a little bit hard to control.
So I only want to be 90?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so just through your strength, right, just a little less in that motion to your left, so you hold that 90-degree spin, body above your feet, hips to the boat a little bit, and eyes on the boat. Woo! Very good. Make sure you check your hips before you move the handle. Yeah! Yeah! Oh, Timmy! Eyes on me! Eyes on me! Very good, very good. Let's finish there. That was awesome. Very good. So that's a typical first lesson. Obviously you've got to judge your boat speed based on your rider weight, and you know, Timmy has wakeboarded before and he's quite comfortable at 22 miles an hour, you know, 33 k's in New Zealand. So you've got to be aware of that. You can't just obviously go too fast. And for the slides, you know, slow everyone down. But if we're talking about, you know, a 40-50 pound 10-year-old, you're going to be right down at like 7-8 miles an hour. So you just have to be like a good judge and use common sense with your boat speeds. But that's pretty standard first lesson. Taking care of their hips, get them leaning over the water. Kind of like what we talked about in episode 1. And then it's great if you can get them through into that spinning, especially the backside slide. So thanks, Timmy, for being my demonstrator today. And that's the end of instructional number 2.